welcome everyone that's still with us. Looks like we hung on to most of you. We're going to be bringing Danny on here and doing just a little interview. Danny, you with me?
I sure am.
Fantastic. All right. Well, great to have you back and doing a little bit differently here this evening. Obviously you're a big name. A lot of people know who you are. But for those that don't, why don't we just have you just share very briefly your story in a minute.
Well, yeah, I'd love to do that. And golly, I have met so many great people that I would have never had the opportunity to meet if it wouldn't have been for this opportunity. And so I do understand how people get the understanding of different people in businesses like this. They have a preconceived notion, or at least I did. And what I've really found with that, Sean, is that most of the people in our business are all just real people like you and I. And on my part, I didn't want anything to do with a direct selling business. I liked what I did. I've done a lot of things. I'm a farmer, a heavy equipment operator. I've worked for the railroad. Had my own trucking company. There's lots of things I've done over the years, but the reality of it is too, Sean, I've thought back, and through my tenure of working, and I've got a few years under my belt, believe it or not, but about every 10 years, not by design, but about every 10 years, I was starting over. A lot of people have to accept that. You never know where you're going with this. And so with this business, what I see now is something that if you'll put a little effort into it, you'll have something forever. And when you're asking, my story on where I came from, when it came around to me, it was the perfect timing for Danny Kirby. If it would have came 10 years earlier, I wouldn't have been interested, because at that particular time in my life, I was doing what I wanted to do, and I enjoyed it. And so everybody has to have that reason. I always say the good Lord, I'm pretty hard-headed, but the good Lord, he's pretty smart. He knows when it's the right time to present an opportunity to you. I knew that I needed to find something because of where I'd been and knowing where I was headed. And so when Ambit appeared itself to me, I took it very, very serious. And the only thing is, I tell people too, Sean, that I failed miserably in Ambit. I'm making a lot of money, but when I started this company, my background, as I told you, was blue collar, doing lots of different things, but working hard every day. I made up my mind that I was going to go to Texas, and I knew people were going to make millions with this opportunity, but I knew it wasn't going to be me. I never had, right? But I thought, if these guys can go down there and make millions, I can surely make $3,000 or $4,000 a month. And that would have allowed me to been able to retire comfortably. That was my vision. And the second goal that I set when I went down there was, I don't want any friends. I'm not going down there to make any friends. I got friends. I want to come back and live my life. And I always say, man, I failed bad, because obviously I'm making a lot more than $3,000 or $4,000 a month. And I got to tell you, I would hate to settle for that today. I don't care what the income is. I can find a way to spend it. And also, more important than the money is the people that I've met, the friends that I've made. Because what Ambit does is attract the kind of people that you want to be around. These are people that have a vision, that have a dream, and that are willing to step over that line and help other people get what they want. And you become addicted to that type of environment. And obviously, I've changed a lot in the last 10 years, but it's all been for the good. And that's what's so cool about it. As I look back through my life now, and of all the things that I've done, I wouldn't change any of them, because everything you do, it creates character and it builds you toward the next step. I'm a person that is, I believe that positive attitude is very important. I believe I'm a faith believer too, but I'm not going there. I believe in the laws of the universe, that you get what you ask for, you get what you try to achieve. But it is important that you're willing to make that move and make that step when you find the right opportunity. And you can feel it in your heart. You can tell when it's right. So I really don't have as far as me having any great story to tell anybody, I don't. I'm an average guy who made an average living, and I have no complaints. There's a lot of things, you know, we'd like to have do-overs. I don't know whether I want any do-overs or not, because everything I've done has gotten me to where I'm at here today, tonight. This is not by accident. It's by design. And so if everybody can just understand that there's a journey that you're going to have to take through life. And when I was a very young man, Sean, I've never forgot this, and I think I use it a lot in my trainings. All of us, you right now, everybody who's watching this video has a sign that's in front of them. And this is what it's a special sign, and it's never wrong. And this is what this sign says. You look at it right now, it says, "This is the oldest I've ever been." Think about that. It's never wrong. And you laugh now. I see you laugh on there. I did too, because I was told that when I was in my 20s. I go, oh, that's silly. And in my 30s, I'm always looking at this sign about every day. I'm thinking, well, you know, wow, where'd the last 10 years go? And then in my 40s, it's not funny anymore. And then in my 50s and late 50s, I'm going, crap. You know, every minute that goes by is a minute you're never going to get back. There's nothing you can do about it. So if people will understand that no matter where they're at in life, whether they think it's good or bad, it doesn't matter, because they can change it. They have to know that that sign, they can read it every day. And when you're through with today and you start tomorrow, this day's gone forever. So you have a choice as you're going through your journey to carve a little bit of time out of that precious time that we have and invest it to you, for your family, for your dream. But now, because of the system we have, the opportunity and the timing, if you let people help you and you carve that time and use it wisely, you got to be willing to be teachable. You got to be willing to listen. But that doesn't matter whether it's Ambit or anywhere you go. If you're not going to do those two things, you're not going to get very far in life. But if you can do that with this and do it for yourself in a short period of time on this journey, you will be able to make the decision like you have, Sean, like I have, where you can choose whether you want to go to work or not go to work, whether you want to get up or not get up. I'm more excited now about life than I've ever been. And when I say I don't work Ambit anymore, that's not true. But I've never worked Ambit. What I don't do is go out and struggle with Ambit. I go out and have fun. That's all you have to do. Because there are so many people that are waiting for something. And they don't want to be sold. They don't want to be pitched. They don't want to be talked down to. What they want is to have something that might work to get them out of their situation. And if we'll just sit down and be honest, tell the truth, and explain the simplicity. It's electricity. It's natural gas. You're not going to live without it. It's not a bill you're excited about. Nobody likes to pay it. That doesn't make any difference. You're going to. And no matter how much money that you make with this company, you can lay your head on the pillow and sleep real good, because the only way that money comes is because somebody someplace is better off because an Ambit person came by than they were before. And even if they're not an Ambit customer, you look at all the markets we're in. When Ambit comes to town, there's a new sheriff, boys. And things change. The competition has to straighten up. Rates drop. People get better deals. They get better service. So we have a win-win combination. And it is fun. And you never lose. Never. Just plug into this thing. And you will be amazed at how quick you can take control of your future. And your future, you haven't got a clue what your future is. I used to think I knew what my future was. No. The only reason I based my future was because of the bank account that I had, right? Money isn't everything. As a matter of fact, money's nothing. If I give you $1 million and said you couldn't spend it, what good is it, right? But if you have the ability to use the money for things that you want, my wife and I, we have a place at the Lake of the Ozarks. See you down there once in a while. We're down there 2 or 3 months in the summer. I take a computer, telephone, I'm working Ambit. 3-way calls out on the boat. Go to Party Cove, you know, I mean, you've been there, you know the drill. It's all fun. They can't shut the motor off. Everybody be quiet. I got a 3-way call. I'm doing my business. We go to Florida for 2 or 3 months now. We're going to be leaving right after Christmas. We're going to be gone, I don't know, until March. And but we'll be doing Ambit while we're there, doing conference calls, doing 3-ways. And we're not doing it because we have to. It's because we want to. It's because it is fun. Because my goal now is to help as many people. I would like to help 1 million people become a thousandaire. Can you imagine what an extra $1,000 would do in everybody's pocket that come in every month? That's life-changing, man. It's not about millions. It's about a few dollars when you need it will change somebody's life forever. We'll give them that positive attitude. Have I talked long enough? You need me to be quiet? You look nervous.
Well, that 1 minute story was a good one, and which is why I didn't cut you off.
Well, I always tell people, and I apologize if I've taken too much time. You can edit it, I hope.
No,
but I always tell people, I'm not a speaker, but I am a talker, and I love to talk about this company.
Yeah, no, if folks are just joining us here, maybe tuning in early for the Central Time broadcast, we're just doing a little interview with our guest speaker. Danny, a couple things, and you touched on a lot of stuff there that probably we would have headed to naturally anyway. But over the course of that, you mentioned something that kind of stood out to me, which is if you had heard about this opportunity 10 years prior to hearing about it, you wouldn't have been interested.
No.
And that's an interesting question to me, because, when you think about it, how often does that happen to, especially, we have, a lot of people watching right now that are looking to, potentially get started with the opportunity and say yes to it, get signed up, and then they go out and they start reaching out to people. And, like you said, it just makes sense. If you're honest about it, you share the opportunity, people are going to get it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the timing's right for them. And so what would you say, to somebody that's out there sharing the opportunity, and they just seem to keep running into people that either they're not, really, in my opinion, someone that says they're not interested is just a matter of the timing's bad. 10 years prior to you hearing about it, you would have said, I'm not interested in that. You wouldn't have said, no, the timing's bad. You probably would have just said, no, I'm not interested. Right?
Absolutely. And that's a very good question. A lot of times, there's a couple things I do in trainings when we're talking about that particular issue. And we can't go into a lot of it, but we all know what the drip system is. And the people that are on the call that maybe don't know what that is, the person who invited you will explain what the drip system is. So I'm not going to go into the detail on that, but that's also very important. But the one thing you have to remember when you're going out, if you go out and talk to people and you're getting the same response, a CD I have out on the first thing you do, it's called Roadmap to Freedom. I ask people that after you make your first 3 or 4 contacts, stop and get a hold of whoever you're working with. The reason that's so important is we can tell by 3 contacts whether you're saying the right things. Most of the time, people will go out, they get the same response. And it's because they're not asking the right questions. And we have to learn to listen. The most important question that I believe anybody can ask, are you looking? Very simple. Think about that. Are you looking? If they're not looking, it doesn't matter what we have. Do you know anybody that would be looking? I'm very excited. I always try to point out to people that you should start with about not a 10-minute, but a 10-second story. When I started, I didn't know anybody, but John, it was very simple for me when I went up to people in Texas, and I would just look. I had Missouri plates on my car. If you were Texas plates, I'd say, hey, you're from Texas. You're the luckiest guy I know. You guys got oil wells pumping out of the side of your house, and I'm down here tapping into that money from Missouri. Then I could tell whether they had an interest. What are you talking about, Yankee? And then you could get a conversation. But if you go up and try to, let me save you $5 on your electricity bill, or $10 or $50, man, they're out of there. So the timing is everything. And another thing about timing, I don't care if the timing is perfect for you right now. If you've got things on your mind, you got to give it time to soak. Part of our training is you never do the when you do the invitation, you never do the presentation. And that's because they have to get the right mindset. This is an important opportunity. This is it's a once in a lifetime. And people need to have the opportunity to take a serious, hard look at it. So we, as consultants, have to be cautious. We have to be big ears, little mouths, and we have to care and find out what they want. And then tell them, hey, I'm not sure, but I may have something to help you out on that. If you got a few minutes, let me run some numbers by you. Or something, whatever works for you. But you're right about the timing, and we have to be cautious on that.
Well, and you know what also struck me about that is that now that Ambit's in excess of 10 years old, you know, if you would have heard about it, you know, when it was the bad timing, 10 years has now passed. You know, somebody whose timing is bad is not always bad. And I think that's one of the things I just wanted to share for those that might be new. You're out there sharing with folks and you're running into some people where it's bad timing, whatever the case. Obviously, just like you said, Danny, it's extremely important you learn the process to be effective when sharing the opportunity. But, you know, understand that a lot of what you're doing is planting seeds. And like you said, you got to implement the drip system so that you're able to drip on them over time, so that when the timing is right, your drip comes along as the answer.
Well, you know, and another thing that we have to always remember, the first words that come out of your mouth about this opportunity, you have to believe in your heart that that person's signing up in your business. And so you're actually training them from the first words that you use. Everything we do, this is duplication. It's done over and over. It's not rocket science. It's simple. You do the same thing over and over and over, and you fail your way to success. You get better at it as you go. So we got to remember that when we're starting, that we follow the system and we develop our own technique that allows people to open up and take a serious look. And that's why it's so important to plug into your team, go to the meetings, get around the successful people, the ambitions, everything that's going on, because you'll get the feel. I can't tell you how it happens, but when you get around people that are making this happen, you'll leave with the knowledge that you didn't read in a book or hear on a tape. It's just kind of like that law of attraction that comes in. And we have to go out and use that to talk to people, to share, because they're still in the rut, guy. 10 years ago, if you'd have talked to me, I wouldn't have been interested. But throughout that 10-year period, if you'd have used the drip on me, and every month you'd have said, hey, Dan, I'm just giving you a call, you know, made an extra $1,000 last month, you know, or blah, blah, blah going on. Pretty soon I said, crap, we got to get together. And so that's part of our business. If you're a true energy consultant for Ambit Energy, you have to learn not to push, not to drive people off, but to continue to communicate in a positive manner. And if you'll get that kind of a reputation going for yourself, pretty soon you got this machine that's running, man, and you're just so busy, and your posture becomes good, and it's fun, because now people are attracted to you, not because you're trying to pitch them or sell them, because you got what they want, and you're there to help them. Timing, to me, there is no such thing as bad timing. There's just that you're not there at the right time.
Fair enough. Last question, my favorite question of all. If you had to do it all over again, Danny, what would you do different? What one thing would you do different?
Wow. I've been asked that one before, and I've actually had time to think about it. And I got to tell you, I can tell you little things that I shouldn't have done, but at the same time, I don't know that I would have done much different, Sean, because I have learned through doing Ambit that most of the things that we feel are struggles as we're building the business, if we're able to go through that struggle, all of us have these same struggles, and we're then able to help other people through that same time. So I'm a firm believer in the law of attraction. I don't believe that anything happens by accident. You're going to go out, you're going to make mistakes, but if you're not willing to go out and make mistakes, you are unable to learn and teach. And so the only thing I think I might have done different is I may have went down to Texas with a better attitude. That would be the only thing. Because I
can't imagine with a bad attitude, Danny. I just can't. It's impossible for me to picture that.
I don't know that it was a bad attitude, but the chip on my shoulder. I'm going to Texas. I'm going to get her done. I'm going to get out. You know, that was kind of where I was at. But when I sat down with Jerry and Chris the first time, I don't know that I've ever met any people quite like them in my entire life. They were so real, and they were so genuine. And I can remember asking them. I remember asking Jerry Thompson once if I got time for this. I asked him. I said, "I'm going to do this, Jerry." I said, "But what do I do? I don't know what to do." And Jerry said, "Well, I don't either, Dan." He said, "That's Chris's job." But he said, "This is what I will tell you. I will tell you that for every customer that you and your team acquire, I will take care of them. I will bill them. I will collect them. And every month I'll mail you a check, depending on where they set in your compensation plan." When I heard that, I was cooked. Stick a fork in me, I'm done. And I've never, ever looked back. I crossed that line in the sand, and I do not intend to look back.
That's fantastic.
Are you still there?
Guys, I walked away because I looked at my battery. I'm running on battery power, and I'm about to run out. So this broadcast might stop abruptly if I don't plug in pretty quick.
Okay, well, it's not a problem.
But anyhow, well, I appreciate you being available for an interview, Danny. We're going to be going live here with our Central Time broadcast in 10 minutes. So I'm going to mute us all out. And you guys who, if you want to hang around, you'll see us start the presentation again here in 10 minutes. So thanks so much, Danny. We'll see you back here shortly.
Later.